Hello everyone. There are certain weapons present in the Warcraft universe that are immediately identifiable and which people would spend vast amounts of time and resources to try to get their hands on. One such pair of weapons are of course the Twin Blades of Azzinoth. There have been plenty of people that have tried to kill this wielder, the Lord of Outland Illidan Stormrage, over and over and over again in the Black Temple raid, hoping that one of them would drop. As the name suggests, these are indeed a set, and both the main hand and the offhand Warglaive of Azzinoth, they're needed to complete the set and wield the mighty Twin Blades. These fell green Warglaives are the iconic weapon of Illidan, and should you run the Well of Eternity dungeon with a set of them equipped, he will even tell you, curious weapons you wield, such power, you seem prepared. When you think of Illidan, you automatically associate him as a demon hunter, with these impressive weapons ever present. But he hasn't always been this way. He wasn't always a demon hunter with a badass pair of wings, and he didn't always have these Warglaives. The Warglaives were not specifically crafted for Illidan. Rather, as their name implies, the Twin Blades of Azzinoth, they belong to a Doomguard commander of the Burning Legion, who was named, you guessed it, Azzinoth. Despite his weapons being fan favorites, we don't know all that much about Azzinoth. The only information that we have, it amounts to just a few sentences. We know that he's a powerful Doomguard commander of the Burning Legion, and Illidan has killed him over 10,000 years ago, around the time of the War of the Ancients. Azzinoth does appear, along with both his right and left Warglaives, in the Warcraft trading card game, but then he was depicted as a fell green tether guard who wielded these blades, whereas every other source, it tells us that he was indeed a Doomguard. Just a minor mistake to be sure, but it does go to show that we really don't know too much about the guy. The prologue of the Ashes of Outland experience, the way that you unlock the Demon Hunter class within Hearthstone, it also has a retelling of the events of the War of the Ancients. The story is told by Illidan, which means that we can't trust it 100%. According to his version, he met Azzinoth in the woods, while still being that Night Elf mage.
I wield the Twin Blades. Those Warglaives. I want them.
Their battle ended, with Illidan being victorious, and then setting out to the palace to offer his allegiance to Sargeras and the Legion, trying to infiltrate the organization and work against the enemy from within. Ever since then, Illidan has taken the blades as his own, and learned to become quite proficient with them. Fortunately for him, Illidan probably didn't have to scramble around for too long to find these two huge glaives wielded by the Doomguards, but players in World of Warcraft, they aren't so lucky. Both glaives have a relatively low drop chance, and you need both of them for the set. So if we take a look at the weapons, the glaives themselves, they have runes on their blade, illuminated by the power thrumming through each weapon, and have ancient soulbinds linking the blades to their wielder. When Illidan was freed by Tyrande back in Warcraft 3 from his prison that his brother Malfurion had ordered him to be imprisoned in, the blades, they were kept displayed on racks just outside of his cell. When Tyrande fought away through the guards to free Illidan, the magical bonds that kept him imprisoned, they gradually loosened, and although he was still physically separated from the blades, they had loosened enough so that Illidan could use these ancient soulbinds to make them materialize in his hands. Quite a lot of you have wondered over the years about these Pandaren that we can see on the glaives. Sadly, there is no rich Pandaren history attached to the weapon. Back then, they just loved adding little Pandaren Easter eggs wherever they could, including on his glaives. Much like Shalamain, another legendary weapon, this one wielded by King Varian Rin. The Twin Blades of Azzinoth, they can also be used as one mighty weapon, or separated into two and used as individual blades. So after being released by Tyrande, doing his thing, being banished from the Elven lands, Illidan and his now allies, shunned by those around them, would eventually come to call Outland home, very much living the mantra of go big or go home. Illidan was insistent on taking the title of Lord of Outland for himself, and established this land as his very own stronghold. He and his allies, they closed down the portals through which the Burning Legion troops would arrive, and then stormed their seat of power, which was the Black Temple. Illidan wielded his mighty blades against the Pit Lord Macfaridan, overcoming him before capturing and imprisoning him beneath Hellfire's citadel. It was here that Illidan would once again wield his blades against the Pit Lords, hoping to use the demonic blood for his own purposes. Wielding one glaive in each hand, he circled McFerrin, blade spinning as he cut into the flesh of the demon and let the blood pool to his feet. And he would also wield these potent weapons on his quest given to him by Kil'jaeden, on the mission of destroying the Lich King and preventing Arthas from merging with Ner'zhul. At Icecrown, Arthas and Illidan they met, where Arthas he wielded the mighty Frostmourne and he fought Illidan head to head, the blade of the hungering weapon clashing with the deadly twin blades of Azzinoth. Behold the twin blades of Azzinoth. Illidan gloated. He flew up higher, whirling the blades in his left and right hands, and Arthas realized that he favored neither one. Two magnificent Warglaives. They can be wielded as a single devastating weapon, or, as you see, as two. It was the favorite weapon of a Doomguard, a powerful demon captain whom I slew 10,000 years ago. How long have you fought with your pretty blade, human? How well do you know it? The words were intended to unsettle the Death Knight. Instead, they invigorated him. Illidan might have had this admittedly powerful weapon for much longer, even though, he was imprisoned for most of the time. But Frostmourne, it was bound to Arthas, and he to it. It was not a sword, as much as an extension of himself. Despite the ferocity of his Warglaives, Illidan was simply outmatched. The bond between Arthas and Frostmourne, it was his and he was its, and so united they were invincible. Thrusting upward with all his strength, he felt the blade connect, pierce flesh and strike deep. The Death Knight had overcome the Demon Hunter and claimed his prize at the top of Icecrown, while Illidan and his forces, they retreated back to Outland. It comes as no surprise that these illustrious blades, they're highly sought after by demon hunters, and there was cause for celebration when Blizzard introduced the "I'll hold these for you until you get out" achievement. This awarded the ability for demon hunters to transmog the weapons to look just like the legendary twin blades of Azeroth. For this achievement, however, you're still gonna have to do some work. You need to have both the main hand and the offhand Warglaive of Azzinoth that drops from Illidan in the original Black Temple raid to get the Warglaives of Azzinoth achievements. In that battle, we found out that Illidan can actually call upon the Flame of Azzinoth. By throwing his twin blades onto the field, these fire elementals, they became quite a problem for any raid team, as they weren't allowed to stray too far from the blades. If they did, then they would increase their damage by 500% and movement speed by 200%, on top of their powerful fire left behind on the ground and the flame blast costs. They were quite a bit of power to deal with. But once victorious and lucky enough to get these legendary weapons, you will unlock the achievement that you need once you've equipped the weapons. Now all you need to do is defeat Illidan again. This time it's the time-walking version of the Black Temple. As these are account-wide achievements, you do not need to do this all on the same character. You just need to earn the achievements. The Warglaives needed for the achievements, they can only be used by warriors, rogues, death knights, monks, and the demon hunters, but they can drop for other classes as well. Which means that my poor paladin, who does indeed have both Warglaives, has no shot at his transmog.
You are not prepared.
Recently, they have made the change to allow you to transmog just legendary weapons, but the process of unlocking the twin blades, it has remained the same, as this is a custom method for demon hunters in particular to obtain the transmog that they wanted. It already exists through the Black Temple time walking, and Blizzard Entertainment, they did not want to diminish the value of this unique reward. So yeah, you'll still have to go through the hoops in order to unlock the transmog. But now that you're all running around wielding these weapons of Azzinoth, you may think that this is where the story ends for these legendary glaives. But fear not, because in the latest Hearthstone expansion, which is called The Ashes of Outland, Illidan has taken a seat in the tavern, and of course has brought his glaives with him. The Warglaives of Azzinoth is a weapon card for the new Demon Hunter class, available in Hearthstone. They cost 5 mana to use, have a durability of 4 and an attack of 3. So adept with these blades has Illidan now become that the ability for the cards, it means that after Illidan attacks a minion, he can attack again. So, after dashing your way around Azeroth with the twin blades, why not stop by the tavern and see Illidan wielding them once more? Now that you know the history of the blades, I think it's fair to say you're more than prepared. And that brings us to the end of the story. As always, thank you very much for watching, everyone. If you have any cards that you'd like us to cover in the future, be sure to let us know in the comments down below. You could also subscribe if you like my videos, leave a like if you enjoyed this one, and until next time, see ya!